Welcome back to the channel. I really do appreciate you dropping in. And I also want to thank you for checking out my last video. It's been a long time since I had a video get ranked 1 of 10, so I greatly appreciate it. Today's video will also be a very deep one. The first case we'll be looking into is in Linthorpe, England. It's an area in Middlesbrough. It involves a husband coming home and finding his wife dead. But as the story unravels, there are a lot of twists and turns. The second case we're going to be looking into might be one some of you have heard about. I had never heard about it, so when I came across it, it was very intriguing to me. And there's also some updates on the other things that I had seen. There was a 2020 special. It was covered, I guess, in a book as well. And that case is about Rebecca Zahau. And that case is freaking insane. And if you had heard it, at the very end, I do have an update of what's been going on in the court proceedings. I'll make sure to include the timestamps, all that good stuff, and yeah. Before we get into the rest of the video, I do want to take a second to thank today's video sponsor, PIA VPN, Private Internet Access. Some of you might be asking, what is a VPN? Well, in short, it hides your IP address and safeguards your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. This way it shields your digital life from the eyes of those that are looking to exploit your private information. Especially if you're using Wi-Fi of your neighbors, your hotel, or even a coffee shop. People that find their way on the network can get your private information. But if you have PIA VPN, all that is encrypted. Make sure to click the link in the description or go to piavpn.com/Urmaker to save 83% on 2 years and get an extra 4 months for free. I should also mention, PIA does not save any logs. Their no-log policy has been proven multiple times in court. Recently, there's been a lot of security breaches and identity theft all over the internet. With the help of PIA VPN, it's possible to provide an additional layer of protection. PIA VPN has the most significant amount of servers and the fastest of any other product on the market. We're talking 50 servers in 50 states in the US just alone. And there's more than just the US, you can put your place wherever you want in the world. It's as easy as pulling it up on your sidebar, choosing where you want to be, whether it's in the United States or in a different country, and pressing that little power button right there. Once you do, you'll see your encrypted IP address. Private Internet Access VPN is one of the best products in the world, with over 30 million users and a 4.6 star rating on Trustpilot. One of my favorite uses for PIA VPN is to change my location to the UK and listen to music that is banned in the United States. Once again, to get yourself a killer deal, make sure to click the link in the description or go to piavpn.com/Urmaker to save 83% on 2 years and get an extra 4 months for free. I want to give a huge thank you to PIA VPN for sponsoring this video. And without any further ado, let's get back into the video. Jessica Patel was born in 1983 in Leeds, Britain. Being the eldest of 6 children, she had a nurturing soul and was known for being calm and gentle. Her compassion and desire to help those around her led to Jessica studying pharmacy at the De Montfort University, and then Manchester University after. During her studies at De Montfort, Jessica began dating Mitesh Patel, a young man she'd known from her childhood. Mitesh and Jessica came from similar backgrounds and both wanted to be pharmacists. They found common ground in each other. However, for unknown reasons, the couple broke up shortly after, but rekindled their relationship later on and got back together. Jessica was a helpless romantic and dreamed of having her own love story. Her dreams began to come true with Mitesh. At the start of their relationship, Jessica's mother was very sick and it took a toll on her. During this difficult time, Mitesh was very supportive. After that, their relationship blossomed, and Jessica knew he was the man for her. In 2009, Mitesh and Jessica tied the knot. After the wedding, they lived with Mitesh's family, before moving to Linthorpe, Middlesbrough for a fresh start. Here they bought Roman Road Pharmacy, which they owned and ran together. They also bought and refurbished a home close by on the avenue. The couple quickly settled into the new community and were well liked. With their pharmacy, they became well-known members of the community, though they remained reserved and private with their personal life. Everything was going well and they were now ready to start their own family. Jessica was ready to be a mother. Unfortunately, they experienced fertility problems and Jessica went through several IVF treatments, resulting in having several embryos frozen at a clinic. Despite the tension this brought upon their relationship, Jessica and Mitesh continued presenting a loving and strong front to their families and community. Monday, May 14, 2018 started as any regular day for the Patels. Mitesh took the earlier shift at the pharmacy and went to the gym later on in the day. Jessica's father came to the shop while she was there, and the two talked and laughed, making plans to meet again the following week. Jessica then went home after work, and her husband showed up not long after. At 8:20 p.m., after arriving home from picking up pizza for dinner, Mitesh called 999.
It's emergency.
Oh, hiya. I think we've been burgled and my wife's been attacked.
What's the address?
We're on the avenue in Middlesbrough, Linthorpe.
Right, is that where your wife is now?
Yeah, well, I've just come home. I was just out. I went to get something to eat and see the lads at work and get my laptop.
Yeah.
I come home and the house is ransacked. And she's just on the floor. She's got duct tape all over her and she's like unconscious.
Right.
Shall I take the duct tape off her?
Can she breathe?
No, because
Take the duct tape off her then.
Please, can you send someone?
Yeah, I am. Can I take your name, please?
My name's Mcculloch.
Okay.
I can't get it off her.
I'm going to get someone straight out, okay?
How long will they be?
I'm going to get them travelling on blue lights and we're going to get an ambulance straight out as well. Okay. You said is your wife breathing? Can you feel a pulse?
I can't feel anything. Her hand's really cold.
How long have you been out of the house?
About an hour.
What's your wife called, please?
Jessica.
Listen, we've got police travelling down now. Okay? We've got police travelling down now.
Yeah, I've got the duct tape off her. It was on her legs, like by her ankles and on her arms, tied, like she's been tied up. But her hands are really cold.
Are there any marks on her at all?
Well, I can see marks on her neck, like really dark neck.
She's been tied up by her hands, and also tape around her legs.
Yeah.
And marks around her neck.
Yeah. She's got like blood on her nose and like stuff dripping out onto the floor.
And she's non-responsive.
Oh, Jess, come on, baby, Rick.
Despite the best efforts from emergency services, at just 34 years old, Jessica passed away. The police quickly sealed off the crime scene to preserve any evidence and reduce the risk of contamination. Then they began asking questions about the events leading up to the murder. Mitesh told them Jessica worked late that day, till 7 p.m. before going home. While he was home earlier from the gym, he realized he left his laptop at the pharmacy and went to pick it up. He also bought a pizza for dinner on his way back. He said he was only gone for 30 minutes. When he returned home, he found the house ransacked and Jessica lying on the living room floor, hands and feet bound in duct tape, and she was unconscious. Jessica's family was called and notified of the heartbreaking news. None of them could believe what happened. They came together to support each other and traveled to Linthorpe to offer support to Mitesh. Mitesh broke down in tears upon seeing Jessica's sister, Manal, sobbing on her shoulder. It was a shattering night for everyone. They lost a significant loving member of their family and didn't understand why. The police began their investigations. They found no evidence of sexual assault and no sign of forced entry into the home. It was possible Jessica knew her attacker and let them in, though they still couldn't figure out what the motive for the crime could be. A post-mortem was conducted and it was determined that Jessica's cause of death was asphyxiation. A few days later, while her family was still in Linthorpe grieving with Mitesh, they received a call from the family liaison officers to go home and meet with them. A suspect had been identified and the police were about to make an arrest. On May 17, 2018, Mitesh was arrested on suspicion of murdering his wife. The families and surrounding community were shocked at the arrest. Jessica and Mitesh had lived a peaceful and loving life together. No one had seen this coming, especially with how distraught Mitesh was losing his wife. When the police searched and ransacked the home, they found a hard drive of the CCTV footage system. Normally, the hard drive is secured in a cupboard, which would make it difficult for intruders to get it and destroy it. However, it was found upstairs in the bedroom, with footage that would begin to unravel Mitesh's lies. The footage showed Mitesh arriving home from the gym at 3:30 p.m. But he didn't leave. At 7:30 p.m., Jessica arrived home from work. Then at 7:44 p.m., Mitesh left the house and didn't return until 8:15 p.m. 6 minutes before the 999 call was made, the CCTV was disconnected. Obviously, the first thing police noticed was no one else was entering or leaving the home during the time of the murder. But it also showed that Mitesh lied about not seeing Jessica after he came home from the gym. And even more suspicious was the attempt to get rid of the footage minutes before he called the emergency services. Upon further searching, a suitcase full of clothes was found packed under the bed in their home. And at the pharmacy, jewelry, 25,000 pounds, and gold bars were found in the safe. There was also a plastic bag with 2,000 pounds. The evidence against Mitesh was rapidly building up, though a motive was yet to be identified. The police needed more evidence to connect everything. They then searched Mitesh's and Jessica's phones in hopes of finding more clues. Through an iPhone health app, a better timeline was established. The health app can track a user's steps and heart rate, and Mitesh's movements around the house that night once again went against his story. Jessica's heart rate and steps stopped at 7:04 p.m., while minutes after, Mitesh could be tracked racing around the house, going up and down the stairs. 40 minutes after Jessica's heart stopped, Mitesh took her phone outside to stage a burglary. When he came back in, the health app showed he climbed the stairs before calling the emergency services. Authorities believe that this is when Mitesh hid the CCTV footage and called 999. Finally, the police had enough evidence to charge Mitesh with the murder of his wife, Jessica. The following week of the trial came to a shock to everyone in court. It turned out Mitesh was a constant user of Grindr and other similar apps to look for men. His family didn't know about this, as he was ashamed of coming out. He claimed that he didn't want to be looked down on as a gay Asian man, and that he did not want to disappoint his wife. Even the staff at the pharmacy knew that Mitesh was on dating apps, but they kept the secret to themselves. They were always afraid of Jessica finding out. Little did they know, she already knew about her husband's extramarital activities. It wasn't long after their marriage that Jessica found out that Mitesh was having an affair with Dr. Amit Patel. When she confronted him about it, Mitesh convinced her he would end it. However, he didn't end the affair. He went on seeing Amit for 8 more years. The entire time, Mitesh continued lying to Jessica, telling her there was nothing going on between him and Amit. But Jessica kept catching him in the act, while he was speaking to Amit on the phone. She confided to a family member about the affair, and told them how Mitesh was no longer attracted to her. Growing tired of his lies and unfaithfulness, Jessica refused the last treatment of IVF. But Mitesh wouldn't have any of it. He pressured her through the treatments and even threatened to leave her if she didn't go through with them. The procedures heavily affected her physically and psychologically. She had to see a therapist and was prescribed medication for her depression and anxiety. What's worse is that this was all part of Mitesh's plan all along. The reason they couldn't have a baby was because Mitesh kept taking drugs to suppress his sperm count, making it difficult for Jessica to conceive. Then Amit moved to Australia, and this accelerated the breakdown of Mitesh's marriage with Jessica, because not only did Mitesh long to be with Amit in Australia, but he wanted to raise a baby with Amit too. They planned to use one of Jessica's frozen embryos to that effect. Despite all that Jessica was going through, very few people saw the signs of the abusive relationship she was in. Moving to Linthorpe provided them opportunities to grow and start a business, but the move also isolated her from her family. She saw less and less of her siblings and had no one to run to when things got hard for her. And Mitesh took advantage of this. He knew she still loved him and would remain quiet about his abusive behavior. But he also knew he couldn't just leave her and run off with his lover. It would bring too much shame to his family. There had to be another way out of the relationship. And that's when murder entered the conversation. The authorities uncovered more evidence that was found on his computer's search history. For years, Mitesh looked up how to murder without getting caught. His internet searches included, "I need to kill my wife," "insulin overdose," and "plot to kill my wife. Do I need a co-conspirator?" His crime was not a spontaneous one, but a well-thought-out plan to get rid of Jessica and run away to Australia. From the various life insurance policy they'd taken out, Mitesh also stood to profit £2 million for his wife's death. Finally, the details of the murder also came to light. That night, Mitesh injected Jessica with insulin to subdue her. He then went about staging the scene of his crime. This is when he saw Jessica moving and realized he needed to finish the job. He ended up suffocating her with a plastic Tesco bag. Jessica tried to fight back. She left scratch marks on his neck. But in the end, she died at the hands of her husband. Mitesh even wrapped her hands and feet a minimum of 4 times with duct tape. During the trial, the evidence against Mitesh kept mounting up. It only took the jury 3 hours of deliberation to come up with a verdict. They found Mitesh guilty of murdering Jessica. He was then sentenced to a minimum of 30 years in prison. Rebecca Zaha was born on March 15, 1979, in Phalam, a small town in Chin Hills, Myanmar. She was raised by her Protestant parents and grew up very religious, maintaining her faith through her adult life. Rebecca was a hard worker and felt very responsible for her parents. She made sure she was always able to provide for them. Despite being born in Chin, she moved and lived in several countries including Nepal and Germany, and finally settled down in the United States. Because of this, she was multilingual, fluently speaking English, Nepali, and Hindi. While she was living in Germany, Rebecca attended the Calvary Chapel Bible College in Austria, where she met Neil Nalepa. Neil was then a 36-year-old nursing student from Scottsdale, Arizona. The two began dating and a few years later in 2002, got married. And that's why Rebecca had moved to the United States. Her parents and majority of her family also moved to the United States and settled in St. Joseph, Missouri. Rebecca continued to work hard and provide for her parents. They had been through a hard life while she was growing up, and she wanted to make sure they would live comfortably and not need to work again. Rebecca worked as an ophthalmic technician. Her sisters described her as a health nut due to her highly health-conscious life. She was disciplined with her eating and wouldn't drink alcohol, believing it to be a waste of calories. But unfortunately, Rebecca's marriage was not doing great. The couple had their ups and downs, but things became more strained between them. They decided to take time off from each other, and Rebecca began dating Jonah Shacknai. Rebecca had met Jonah at her job in 2008. Jonah was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company and the 9th highest paid CEO in Arizona. He was twice divorced and had 3 children, 2 teenagers from his first marriage and a 6-year-old son, Max, from his second marriage. Soon after they started dating, those close to Rebecca noticed changes in her life. Her faith never faltered, but she stopped going to church because Jonah didn't go, telling her family she was looking for a new place of worship. Rebecca also quit her job in 2010 and moved to Coronado, California to spend time with Jonah and his children. She put her life on hold to be closer to Jonah. But things weren't always easy in their relationship. Jonah's teenage children resented her, and didn't understand why their father wanted to be with her. His family, along with his ex-wives, also treated her like garbage. At some point, it was too much for her to bear, and she almost broke up with Jonah. Their love for one another was also questionable. To their friends and family, they never showed each other affection or acted playful. Rebecca's sister Mary later said she wasn't sure if the couple were ever in love at all, though Jonah did fully support Rebecca and comfortably lived with her. Despite being surrounded by people who didn't like her, Rebecca tried her best to fit in and become part of their lives. She took responsibility for Jonah's youngest son, Max, taking him to and from soccer practice, reading him books, and cooking for him. They grew close, and Max would want Rebecca to be the one to prepare him things and play with him. During all this, Rebecca was still legally married to Neil. It wasn't until February 2011 that they finally divorced. Months later, Rebecca was staying at Jonah's Spreckles mansion in Coronado, California for the summer, when the first tragedy struck. On July 11, 2011, Rebecca was at home babysitting Max. Her younger sister Zena had come for a visit and was staying with them. At some point during the day while Rebecca was in the bathroom, she heard a scream. She came to find out that Max had fallen over the second-floor banister and was severely hurt. He had injuries in his spinal cord and facial bones affecting his breathing and heart rate. In fact, Max wasn't even breathing and was unresponsive. Zena immediately dialed 911 and Max was rushed to Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego. Jonah and Dina, Max's mother, were informed and went straight to the hospital. After staying at the hospital for a while, Rebecca returned to the mansion filled with remorse and extremely worried about Max's state. She blamed herself for not being able to prevent the accident. The next day, Rebecca dropped off Zena at the airport for her flight back to Missouri, and then picked up Jonah's brother Adam, who flew in from Tennessee. He'd come to support his family during such a hard time. They went out for dinner along with Jonah and another friend. Jonah went back to the hospital to spend the night next to his son, while Rebecca and Adam returned to the mansion. Adam was sleeping in the guest house, but awoke to another tragedy in the Spreckles mansion. On the morning of July 13th, at around 6:45 a.m., Adam found Rebecca's body. He then dialed 911.
Emergency, what are you reporting?
Yeah, I got a girl hung herself in the guest house of, it's on Ocean Boulevard across from the hotel, same place that you came and got the kid yesterday.
Okay, sir, what is the address?
I'm not sure. Let me call you back.
Okay, sir, is she still alive?
I don't know.
Okay. Sir, are you there?
Are you alive? Hello. You came here yesterday to pick up a little boy.
Okay, sir, I wasn't working yesterday. I don't know what you're talking
about.
Your
records?
Sir, I checked all of the records yesterday. I can't find anything on Ocean Boulevard. Can you tell me what the address is?
I'm looking. Oh, fuck. Come on.
Fire medical emergency? Coronado with a transfer. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Hi, what's
that lady is hung herself.
What's the address?
1043 Ocean Boulevard.
1043 Ocean Boulevard?
Yeah.
Okay, what's wrong?
She hung herself, man. I woke up.
Okay, is this a house?
It's a house, yeah.
Okay, how old is she?
I'd say about 30.
30? Okay. When was the last time you saw her?
Last night.
Okay, is she beyond help?
Well, give me some. I'm compressing her chest right now.
Okay, hold on. So what's your name?
Adam Shackner.
Okay, I have help on the way. What's your cell phone number? Is it 901? Okay, listen to me. Help is coming right now, okay? And Peter, you're on the way?
Yes, we are.
Okay, and you're right there with her. Did you cut her down?
Yes, I did.
Okay, just stay with me.
Rebecca was found naked, gagged with a t-shirt, and hanging from the balcony with her ankles and wrists bound, and her hands tied behind her back. Adam cut her down before the police arrived. The medics attempted to revive her, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. Adam texted his brother to tell him what had happened. 3 days after Rebecca was found, Max passed away in the hospital. Jonah had lost his son and his girlfriend. The police ruled Max's death a tragic accident. Investigators then searched the Spreckles mansion to uncover clues about Rebecca's death. They found a cryptic message painted in black block letters on her door. She saved him. Can you save her? No one understood what this meant, and after handwriting specialists were consulted, they couldn't conclude whose handwriting it was. A book on witchcraft was found which showed drawings of a rite, a naked woman with her hands tied behind her back. And after doing a thorough scan of the scene, the only DNA in the room belonged to Rebecca herself. On the balcony, they found Rebecca's footprints and a boot footprint, but the boot was later determined to be from an officer. An autopsy was conducted and revealed 4 instances of head trauma. There were many theories as to what could have happened. Some say she hit her head against the balcony after jumping, while others disagree and say it's evidence of an attack before her hanging. The circumstances of her nudity and body being bound also brought up a lot of suspicion to the case. Many believed someone was involved and it was a possible homicide. The evidence found at the scene raised a lot of questions and puzzled everyone. During a news conference, the police got an officer to demonstrate how it's possible to tie yourself up with your hands behind your back. They said this proved Rebecca did the same thing. Adam, being the only one present at the home, was called in for questioning. To prove his innocence, he took a polygraph test, but the results were inconclusive. However, on September 2nd, the San Diego County Sheriff's Department formally ruled the case a suicide. The ruling, rightfully so, enraged Rebecca's grieving family. They refused to believe that Rebecca would act that way, especially when there were no signs in her health or behavior that led in that direction. She was happy, and her faith kept her strong in all hardships she went through. The day before she died, she made detailed plans and talked to her sister over the phone about them. She wanted to prepare a care package to take to Jonah at the hospital and fix him something to eat. She wanted to be there for Max and Jonah. Her ex-husband, Neil Nalepa, was doubtful of the ruling as well. He said it was out of character and he never thought Rebecca would do such a thing. The family exhumed Rebecca's remains and got a renowned pathologist to conduct a second autopsy, in which the doctor found enough evidence to suspect foul play. He found evidence of sexual assault before death and signs of strangulation. With this new evidence, they obviously petitioned the California Attorney General's office to reopen the case. But unfortunately, it was declined. But Rebecca's family did not give up. Her mother and sister, Mary, remained extremely vigilant in seeking retribution for Rebecca. In July 2012, they filed a wrongful death suit naming Adam Shacknai, along with Dina Romano, Max's mother, as the defendants. It was claimed that Rebecca had told one of her sisters that, "Dina's gonna kill me. Dina is going to kill me." Even though Rebecca and Dina had a tense relationship, there was footage of Dina at the hospital that night. After seeing the evidence, Rebecca's family dropped the lawsuit against Dina and publicly apologized to her. But Adam remained the sole defendant. They believed Rebecca and Adam had a confrontation where things escalated and he killed her. In 2018, the jury of the wrongful death suit against Adam found him responsible for the death of Rebecca and awarded the Zahow family $5 million. Adam wanted to appeal the case, but his insurance company decided to just settle it there. Adam maintains his claim of being innocent, and Jonah stands by his brother's innocence and said he wants the case to be over so both sides can finally have the closure they need. Rebecca's family also brought up a lawsuit against the sheriff's department, trying to get them to release more evidence. Eventually, their lawyer found out that the evidence either didn't exist or there was no way to get it now, so they dropped that lawsuit. But they are still trying to get her cause of death changed, from suicide to either undetermined or homicide. Upon researching all this, I found that there was actually a 2020 special on this, and they did a little testing with a mannequin to see if it's possible for someone to have thrown Rebecca over the balcony without getting their footprints on the balcony, and it did seem possible. They also had someone try the exact same knots and tie them on themselves behind their back, which they were able to do, but it was very difficult. Regardless of which way you think, you would have to admit that this is very, very suspicious. Being fully nude, gagged, hands and legs tied up, hands behind your back, and then throwing yourself over a balcony to hang yourself. Some say she did it because of how bad she felt about Max getting hurt on her watch. Other people think that it was Max's family trying to get revenge. Either way, I hope that they can get her death changed to undetermined so there can be a proper investigation, because this just seems very odd to me. I do appreciate you dropping in and checking out this video, and if you enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff. And if you want to help yourself with your online security as well as help the channel out, make sure to check out our sponsor, PIA VPN. Get yourself a big old discount in the description down below. Both of these cases have a lot of twists and turns. I'm very surprised I hadn't heard of the second one before, especially since there's been 2020 on it, there's a book on it I guess. I'd just never heard about it. But even in the first one, man, I did not see that all unwinding like that. Guess it really goes to show you really don't know who to trust. I hope you all stay safe out there, and I will catch you in the next video. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true. Bad bye.